What up guys, Cleaning PhD here, and today I did a house wash here, and sometimes with these house washes it's very hard to pick it up on camera, but you'll see these streaks along the window, and actually the whole window is streaked up with this sort of like white chalky substance, and it can often be really difficult to remove. Oftentimes when you clean the window and then you scrub it and you clean it, it'll still leave these chalky lines. So I want to show you today how I tackle this. And so you can charge more for this because this is a water problem with your client. This is not, often it's not your fault. It's the minerals and the deposits in the water of the client. So whether or not you want to charge more for this, it depends. So what we've got here is a white scrubber pad, and I'm just going to use this with my pole, and I'm going to scrub all the windows again. And that's what's going to need to be done with these, because just a regular cleaning is not going to get that sort of thing off. So here's the process on how I do that. Up on window cleaner stores, this is just an Unger like swivel thing, and it's got these interlocking teeth that hold onto these pads, so you can put it to a pole and then wet it up and scrub. Also work with something like quadruple zero steel wool or some other sort of abrasive pad that does not scratch the windows, and that's key. You do not want to scratch windows while you're using abrasives or some sort of pad on them. So this is what is going to happen. All right, so here are the windows now, and these are the ones that have heavy streaking on them. And so these are the ones that I'm going to be hitting with my pole here. I've got the scrub brush or the scrubby pads on the end of a swivel here. And I've also got my scrub pad on this side, an abrasive side, and then a regular side there. And that's gonna help get these water spots off the window after a house wash. You wanna do this quickly or within the same day. The longer they sit on there, the harder they're gonna be to get off. So they can also come off a few weeks later if a client calls you back, but you want to try to get these off as soon as possible.
All right, hello and welcome to the post-production recording. And so in this, I'm just gonna walk through exactly my process while I'm cleaning these windows. As you can see, I've got a swivel type squeegee with a flick pad on my Ettore trad pole. This is a modified Mormon 14-inch flick pad. It's got a Ettore 14-inch chrome channel in place of the Mormon channel. And I find with bigger windows, commercial windows, picture windows, these big windows here, half moon windows, windows that have a good amount of space to move around your squeegee, I believe the Ettore channel is a better pick, and it works better in those scenarios. Tighter windows, it seems that the Mormon standard channel is the best, but all depends on your preference. So I've pre-treated these windows with, of course, my soap solution, and now I'm going through with this white scrubby pad, and this pad does not scratch windows, and that is important that you have a pad that does not scratch windows in your arsenal. You don't want any pads that scratch windows in your arsenal. And this Unger attachment actually wasn't quite big enough for the scrubby pads, and you can see that they actually stick out of the ends there. And this ended up actually being quite the advantage, as the ends snug up very nicely into the corners and they get every possible inch of the window. So that ended up being a very big advantage. And with these things, yeah, even though I pre-treated, I also needed to wet the scrubby pad as I was going so it would have more glide on the windows. And this is how I do all my work. 95% of the windows I clean is all pulls, and I highly recommend that you become proficient in pull work, as arguably most of the time it's much faster than water-fed pull. You don't got to break out hoses, you don't got to break out things, and it works really well. You've got to be attuned to all the quirks of pull work, when it'll leave streaks, when it won't, your advantages and disadvantages, but it's highly worth learning. Even though it's not something I would teach to a worker, because it takes years, arguably, or several months of pull work to get proficient at it. It is how I clean most of my windows, and the clients are happy, and it's awesome.
All right, now that we've scrubbed it with the scrubby pad, we're going to go ahead and use our squeegee to clear the soap off.
And as the man said, I am now switching to the squeegee. And so I've done a pre-treatment with the squeegee or the scrub pad. And then I get to the abrasive pad and I clean all the windows with that. Now I'm going to do a final run with the flick pad, and I'm going to squeegee off the water. And sometimes this is what it can take with these streaks on here, is that it's pretty time intensive. And so, as I said before, you're going to have to work out what you're going to do in these scenarios, because these scenarios will pop up for you. Many people's houses do not have soft water on the outside. The softening system only treats the insides of the water, or the inside water of the house. So many times you're going to have this, and you need to have a plan in place as to what you're going to do. Sometimes it can even spot up the house. If the water is very hard, it can spot up parts of the house, depending on the paint and how hard the water is. And these are all things you can run into from time to time. It can be very stressful for new guys. I know these streaks here can be very stressful for new guys. When you have a situation you've never ran into before and it looks kind of dire, it's easy to get worked up. It's easy to get anxious and frustrated and not know what you're going to do. But as long as nobody's gonna die, I think that's a good indication that you're all right and it's okay and you can work through it. Huge stress in your life is not something you want to be experiencing on a regular basis, and so just make sure you take it one step at a time. If nobody's dying, the situation's okay, it's just some windows. But I know I was freaked out the first time I had this happen to me, and maybe a couple times. After I found out this method, though, this makes everything much easier, and I now have a tried and true solution to get streaks off windows after a house wash, and this works super well, works every time, no issues.
And so as you can see here, windows look awesome. No streaking or anything along the base. And that's the power of the scrubby pad here. So make sure you pick up one of these scrubby pads, because they can save you situations. They're awesome to have. All right, thank you.